VLR.
Welcome to the Saturday Night Cigar Lounge.
And back here on Saturday Night Cigar Lounge, here on Vigilant Liberty Radio, we think we know what happened. Time Warner had a system-wide crash, so that is taking some time away from, obviously, what happened here on Saturday Night Cigar Lounge. Sean Venkman will hopefully be joining us in a few minutes. It went out in his area too, and so that is kind of going on right now. So we're getting it all figured out. It's one of those situations. It happens. It's what happens with the internet, is that sometimes it crashes, sometimes it doesn't work. But the good news is that we are back on the air. So now that we are back on the air, we're going to keep talking for a bit. I want to actually address something that happened last hour before the crash happened. It was a discussion involving Sheldon Richman from the Future Freedom Foundation, and the idea that libertarians don't care about national defense or aren't interested in a strong military. That isn't true. At least in my opinion, that isn't true. One of the things that we have is we do have things going on in the nation. We do need to keep our military forces strong, but the question then becomes what conflict should we be getting involved in, and that is certainly something which people have to decide, that people have to figure out. And that is something which people need to figure out as well. The other thing that needs to be discussed and needs to be figured out is what is our role in the world. What are we going to be doing? How are we going to be spending our time and our wealth, the money that the government takes from us? What are we going to be doing with that? That's kind of the question that people need to ask and people need to figure out. And it's certainly not something that is easy. It's certainly not something that people have to. It's certainly not something that is easy for people to decide. It's a situation where it's not an easy thing. It's not an easy decision. You've got to figure out, okay, do we really want to get involved in this situation, and do we really want to go insane? Do we really want to have everything, spend our time involved in this? And that's something that the libertarians are sitting here and going, look, there's only so much we can do. There's only so much that we can get involved in, and so much that we can do as a country. And so that's the big question that's going on, and that's the big question that libertarians asked. Now, I will say this with respect to Sheldon Richman. I don't agree with him on his comments over Israel. I don't. I think that Israel being the only constitutional republic and true democracy in the Middle East, that we need to support them. But the question is, how do you support them? How do you decide that you are going to help them out? One way that I say that we should help them out has to do with free trade and trading with Israel, trading with Israeli businesses, helping their economy grow, not just through trade agreements, but also through free markets. There's a way for that to be done, and there's a way for that to be done also on the international stage. There's a way for that to be done in Russia. There should be a way for it to be done in Iraq, in Iran, in Cuba. Both Jason Pye Jason Pye from United Liberty, and myself have said that the Cuban embargo needs to be dropped so that we can start trading with them. Now, there is some economic things that need to be figured out, because obviously one of the things which is going on has to do with the cigar industry, because there are Dominican cigars and Cuban cigars which share the same name. You have Romeo y Julieta Dominicans, you have Romeo y Julieta Cubans. You have Romeo y Julietas, you have Cohibas in the Dominican Republic, you have Cohibas in Cuba. So that's something which has to be discussed, and that's something which has to be figured out. An agreement has to be figured out. But see, there's a way that we can encourage freedom, and there's a way that we can encourage democracy and liberty, and we can do that on the we can do that with using our power as a free market system. That's what we need to do. That's really what we need to be doing throughout the globe. It struck me, today is the 100th anniversary of World War I. And one of the reasons why World War I started was everybody got entangled into all these different agreements and all these different military treaties with different countries, and that's how World War I started. When Archduke Ferdinand was killed, war was declared, and it just happened. And so that is the problem with getting caught into a whole lot of military treaties and military situations. That's the issue. So people have to realize that, and people have to be willing to accept it and think about it, and just be very, very careful. So this is Saturday Night Cigar Lounge. I'm your host, Taylor Millard. Sean Vinkman is going to be back in just a minute. We're going to take a really, really quick break and be right back.
This is the Pint-Sized Pundit, and I am here to tell you that anything Taylor says on Saturday Night Cigar Lounge is his opinion and his opinion only. He does not speak for his employer, his employer's employer, or anyone else. He especially doesn't speak for Liz unless she says so.
Hi, this is Jonah Goldberg from National Review, and you're listening to Vigilant Liberty Radio.
Back here on Saturday Night Cigar Lounge, here on Vigilant Liberty Radio, and you know something? I guess the internet gods are against us, or were against us for a minute, specifically the ones at Time Warner Cable. Mm-hmm. Boy, are we supposed to expect this even more now that Comcast has bought Time Warner?
This really never happened before they did, so I don't know.
Yeah, Sean Vinkman is here. Glad we were able to get all back on get back on that.
I pity the Time Warner customer service rep that just answered my phone call.
I pity the Time Warner rep that answered everybody's phone call.
That dude's like, not only am I working a Saturday, but I got some guy telling me he's got some important radio show to do. And,
yeah, yeah. And for folks who don't realize, both Sean Vinkman and I are on Time Warner Cable, and both of our internet went out at the exact same time. So some sort of situation happened. Don't know what, but it kicked us off for a little bit.
Our internet is really like an F-35, that when it works really, really, really well. And when it doesn't work, it just pisses everybody off and costs a lot of money.
Yeah, isn't that the case?
All right, so where did I start breaking up at? When we were talking about Valerie Jarrett assuming the Clintons were racist?
Yeah, let's get back on that, because what we were discussing was obviously the apparent hate between the Clintons and between the Obamas. And it's just like everybody. It seems like everybody is involved in this, right?
Right. The Obamas hate the Clintons, but see, here's the thing: is that the Clintons are citing facts like Obama is taking the hands-off approach, and that's why they don't like him. And there's even a quote in that article that says that Obama basically made a deal with Hillary, that said, "Look, I'm winning. This is in 2008." I'm winning in 2008, you're losing, so I'm going to be the nominee. So here's what we should do. You help me get elected from here on out. And then I'll go for re-election. And then when I eventually, when my terms are up, I'll help you get elected in 2016. And apparently he backed out on that. And that pissed the Clintons off. So the Clintons cite examples of why they hate Barack Obama, and when the thing is flipped, basically what an unnamed source close to Valerie Jarrett is saying in this article is that they don't think the Clintons.
And we just lost Sean for a second again. It was probably Skype being all goofy, but yeah, it's pretty amazing what has happened with this, and we are having issues with Skype again and Time Warner Cable again. It is going up and down. I'm blaming the NSA. Pope Sparkles suggested that we blame the NSA for this, and I blame the NSA for this. It seems that they do not like me, and they do not like Sean Vinkman tonight. So it's unfortunate that we are having these issues with Skype and with Time Warner Cable tonight. Not exactly sure what is going on, and we apologize for that. Skype sucks, and that's a major issue. Sean Vinkman, are you back?
I am, and I do not have an explanation at this time about what just happened.
We'll just blame Skype, and we'll go from that.
Okay.
Sparkles in the chat room just asked, "How can the Clintons be racist? Wasn't Bill the first black president of the United States?" Yeah, wasn't he?
He was, but that should also just show you how screwed the rest of us are. That you can, be Bill Clinton or be Hillary Clinton. One of the top nominees of the Democratic Party, been a Democrat forever, and you're still, kind of a racist. So that's great. So, we're all just huge racists in the eyes of the Obamas. We always thought they were playing up the political angle that if you hate Obama, you're racist. But the more and more I hear, the more and more it seems like they actually believe that if you disagree with Obama, you have to be a racist in some capacity.
I don't get it. I mean, look, do I disagree with the president? Yeah, I do disagree with the president. Does that mean that I'm a racist? I don't think so. I disagree with Rush Limbaugh. Does it mean that I hate fat people? Well, no, he's not
Yes.
fat anymore. Sorry.
Oh.
I disagree with Ann Coulter. Does it mean that I hate women?
Yes, clearly.
Okay.
That's what this is turning into. They're what they're doing is they're making it sound like they're the only ones that have credible reasons to do what they do, and their way is the only credible way of doing things. And if you disagree with them in any way, shape, or form, you lack credibility. And on top of that, you're probably a racist, or you're a sexist, or you hate fat people, or insert whatever here, that you're an ageist. You participate in class warfare because you're a richer, or you know what I mean? Like, they're just going to keep inserting divisive remark here and send it your way, and then and that's what the Republican Party has been suffering from, is that they're always backpedaling. They're always on the defensive. Oh, we're not racist. We love black people. We had Michael Steele. We're not ageist. We had John McCain. He's older than Tarnation. They keep getting caught on their back foot because these people just have, like, they'll pick something out of the air. You got an Ford? Why aren't you supporting your country and buying GM? I mean, like, it doesn't matter with these people. They'll find something to throw it your way. But the sick thing is it's like I said, I never thought they actually believed it. But I think they actually believe it.
Yeah. Pope Sparkles in the chat room just says it's called white privilege.
Yeah, well, apparently someone's redistributing our white internet privilege tonight because that's not working out too well. And no one's ever given me a handout, so I don't understand, my financial white privilege. I used to work alongside African Americans and Hispanics, and what the joke is the Hispanics actually made more because they could speak dual languages and they could talk to Hispanic customers and English-speaking customers. So if we're going off life experience, let's start talking about Hispanic privilege.
Yeah.
I mean, but if we think like Democrats, then we're supposed to start hating Hispanic people. Like, who cares? Everyone do their own thing. Don't break the moral rules of don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, don't be evil, don't be a piece of shit. And it's real easy. But the thing is that, and this is a lot of this is classic Alinsky, divide and conquer. And yeah, that's Napoleon too, I know. But that's basically what it comes down to, is that they're just going to keep throwing enough crap at the wall and see what sticks. But I think they've been smelling their own farts so long that they're actually starting to believe it.
Yeah. Crystal Schoonveld in the chat room just said, somebody should let Sandra Fluck and Wendy Davis know that that they're white women, so they don't have privilege.
Yeah. Shouldn't we put a Hispanic, maybe a person in Texas instead of Wendy? Isn't there a nice qualified African American woman that could lose the Senate seat that I just blanked out on her name. Free birth control lady, California.
Dianne Feinstein or Sandra Fluck?
Yeah, Sandra Fluck. I always try to forget her for many reasons, but yeah, but the joke is that they can have all these prestigious white people in their party. And no one says a word. No one's like, hey, why is Jon Stewart, the lead person on Comedy Central now? Why did oh God, I'm blanking out. This yelling at that internet person screwed me up. Who was on Comedy Central that just went to Letterman's old spot?
Colbert.
Yeah, Stephen Colbert. I knew it was Stephen something. Why did he get the spot and not someone else? No one ever calls him a racist. No one ever questions his or Jon Stewart's white privilege. I mean, maybe they do it behind closed doors, because apparently behind closed doors they even question the Clintons' white privilege, that they're racist. But this just doesn't speak to anything good, because Obama can leave power and that's fine. But there's still 100 people that have had their noses somewhere I wouldn't put my nose, that are willing to just immediately step into his shoes, that believe the exact same crap he believes, and that are ready to continue all the terrible things he did. Because Hillary can sit there and make it sound like, oh, I wouldn't have targeted, the IRS toward conservatives. Oh, I wouldn't have, tried to get back at my enemies. But Valerie Jarrett very much believes that, to the point where she said it in an interview. She said, when we win re-election, it's payback time. That's what she said. So the Clintons can play nice, and that's fine. But they're still, if they're going to play nice, they're the only members of the Democratic Party that are playing nice at this point. And I still don't even believe they're playing nice.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing, and just the stupidity of both parties. It is amazing.
But that no major media outlet will ever cover this at all. Like someone speaks out and calls John McCain's daughter an idiot, and it's on all the major news channels. Everyone's talking about it. Huffington Post is tweeting about it. Salon's tweeting about it. The Clintons come out and
do their thing. But I mean, let's also remember that the Clintons were poor people when they left the White House. Let's remember that. All that stupidity happened. All that stupidity happened with the Clintons. They were just poor people when they left the White House, didn't they?
Yeah. I mean, you get $200,000 speaking fees, right?
Totally.
Yeah, I do. I mean, yeah. And I consider myself poor. So
yeah.
The joke is that actually I don't get $200,000 speaking fees, and I actually don't consider myself poor. And Jon Stewart actually did a really good job roasting these people, and said it was the he had sound clips of Biden trying to make himself sound poor, and he was comparing him to Hillary. And Jon Stewart was like, "Is this like a competition now to see like who can outpour the other person?" This country was founded on prosperity, not like who's the biggest victim.
Well, let's also remember that our dear friend Barack Obama said this week that, hey, that the Republicans don't understand what it's like to be middle class anymore. Isn't that right?
Yeah, says the guy who takes 12 Suburbans and a Cadillac golfing at a private military golf course.
Yeah. Let's. I'll read this from the L.A. Times. In Minneapolis, reviving 2012 campaign things on a partisan edge, President Obama argued that he has not forgotten what it's like to be in the middle class, unlike Republicans in Congress. Mm-hmm. They don't know what most folks are going through, Obama told a group of supporters on the economy Friday. He shared what the White House billed as a day in the life with a young mother who had written to the president about her family's economic trouble. Although, I love this part, although he spent less than an hour with the woman. Still, Obama said her story inspired him and reminded him why he got into politics and why his economic proposals are better than the ideas Republicans advocate.
Yeah. I'm just going to come out and say it, and you can call me a pessimist, and that's fine. All of these people that have these amazing stories that touch Obama's heart, and half these people to stand up at the town halls and ask why Republicans hate poor people and stuff like that, they're all fake. If you actually believe that Obama sorts through the mail that comes to the White House, you're even dumber than the average Democratic voter. That he has some stooge somewhere, oh, hey, tell your intern to write in and say something about this. And they write in and, oh, hey, he's inspired by this letter. It's complete crap. It's him trying not to be a lame duck president. And he'll do anything not to be a lame duck president. He'll even, quote, borrow power from Congress.
Yeah, which last time I checked, the Constitution said nothing about borrowing power. I mean, I don't see that in any of the amendments. I don't see it in any of the jobs of the president. Maybe I missed that section. He's supposedly the constitutional scholar. Maybe I missed that section.
Well, how about this? You go to your neighbor and you borrow some of their money. And I'm going to go to my neighbor and I'm going to borrow some of their land. And we'll see if the government agrees with us. If they come over and they're like, oh, yeah, no, that's Taylor's money now. He's just borrowing it. And then when the sheriffs come out here, they'll be like, no, sir. This is Mr. Fopau's acreage now. He's just borrowing it. Or if they'll be like, you're arrested for trespassing and you're arrested for theft. And the same thing happens in politics, and everyone's just supposed to, like, put their head in the sand.
Yeah. This is what he said today, by the way, in his weekly address. Republicans in Congress keep blocking or voting down almost every serious idea. This year alone, they've said no to raising the minimum wage, no to fair pay, no to student loan report, no to extending unemployment insurance.
Yeah, well, hang on. Go through those line by line and just pause 1 second between them.
Okay. They've said no to raising the minimum wage.
Bad idea.
No to fair pay.
Bad idea.
No to student loan reform.
Even worse idea.
No to extending unemployment insurance.
Even worse idea.
This obstruction keeps the system rigged for those at the top and rigged against the middle class.
Now, he's trying to rig it, and he's pissed he can't rig it. That's what's going on right there.
As long as they insist on doing it, I'll keep taking actions on my own. Like the actions I've already taken to attract new jobs.
And where are all these new jobs he's attracting? Where?
Lift
Texas?
workers' wages.
Texas? That's the only place with new jobs I've seen is Texas, and he controls about as much down here as you would expect him to control.
Yeah. And help students pay off their loans. I'll do my job.
Yeah, because what will help students pay off their loan is if he bails out a bank that reduces their interest rate by a fraction of a %. Not that he stops screwing with the economy and lets the economy come back and lets free trade and not crony capitalism come back. And those students just get jobs and start paying on their student loan debt.
On their own, right?
Like, it's pretty pathetic that these proposals that he's fighting tooth and nail for and that he'll go it alone if he has to, they're really terrible ideas that don't even do anything in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah, I keep looking for these for how he is able to do this. Okay, here we go. I'm going to read Article 2, Section 2 of the U.S. Constitution. And Sean, I want you to tell me if you see any of this. The President shall be Commander-in-Chief of the Army and Navy of the United States and of the militia of the several states when called into the actual service of the United States. Okay. He may require the opinion in writing of the principal officer in each of the executive departments upon any subject relating to the duties of their respected officers, and he shall have power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States, except in cases of impeachment.
Okay.
He shall have power by and with the advice and consent of the Senate to yeah, I know.
Red flag.
Yeah.
Red flag.
To make treaties, provided 2/3 of the senators present concur, and he shall nominate and by and with the advice and consent of the Senate shall appoint ambassadors, other public ministers and consuls, judges of the Supreme Court, and all other officers of the United States whose appointments are not herein otherwise provided for, and which shall be established by law. But Congress may, by law, vest the appointment of such inferior officers as they think proper in the President alone, in the law of courts, or in the heads of departments. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The president shall have power to fill up all vacancies that may happen during the recess of the Senate by granting commissions which shall expire at the end of their next session.
And someone needs to tell them that when they're in recess doesn't mean when they're sleeping before they come to work the next day, because I think that's how he might think that's how that works.
Yeah. Section 3. He shall from time to time give to the Congress information of the State of the Union, and recommend to their consideration such measures as he shall judge necessary and expedient. He may on extraordinary occasions convene both houses, or either of them, and in case of disagreement between them, with respect to the time of adjournment, he may adjourn them to such time that he think proper. He shall receive ambassadors and other public ministers. He shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed.
Immigration.
And shall commission all the officers of the United States.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever read that.
Yeah, the president, vice president, and all civil officers of the United States shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors.
Oh boy, if we were a little bit more expedient with that whole bribery thing.
Well, I mean,
I'm sure Obama's never taken a bribe in any way, shape, or form, right?
Well, let's be all right. I took a look at the new Transportation Act, the Get America Working Act, or whatever the hell they're calling it. Yeah, and the federal government is bribing states to pass no texting while driving laws.
Okay, question.
Yes.
There's a speed limit on every road that you drive, right?
Yeah.
Okay, like there's not like a speed limit free road, right?
Right.
Okay.
Except for I think in North Dakota at...
No, I think that was Montana, and I think they got rid of that. I think they realized that was... I think people died, and they got rid of it. But, okay, do you ever find yourself a mile an hour over the speed limit?
Yeah.
Yeah? Ever accidentally roll a stop sign?
I came close to...
Oh my God, I forgot you're an Eagle Scout. All right, look. The point is that people are going to do what people are going to do. It's Saturday night. The cops put on TV. We have DWI task force that are going to be out tonight looking for people. Don't drink and drive. And you know what? Probably across the country, thousands of people are drinking and driving right now as I'm talking to you. That just because you make something illegal doesn't mean that it's just like that people stop doing it. People still get murdered every day. People still get raped every day. Telling a teenager not to text and drive, that's like telling a teenager not to have sex. Like it has the exact same effect.
By the way, the rape that we're talking about is actual rape, not what Salon considers rape.
Yes, not. And isn't that? But this is a tangent that I won't really go out on. But isn't that bothersome that we've redefined so many words recently that now rape is like, oh, do you mean like rape, or just like halfway rape? Like rape is rape. Like we do not need to redefine what rape is. It should be really, really obvious what rape is. And yet here we are like, oh, are you talking about actual rape or like what Salon calls rape, like or cis heteronormative rape, or like come on. I hate this. I hate that there's no such thing as just accurate old school definitions of stuff anymore, that we have to reinvent everything. You can't say homosexual, but you can say heterosexual, because for some reason homosexual is derogatory and heterosexual is not derogatory. And like it's if you ask an older lady out on a date, then that's sexual harassment. That's the same thing as hiding in her bush and waiting for her to come out. Like this is Yeah, and this is all intentional too. This is all intentional, so that they can sit there and redefine any other word they want. Because if they can redefine rape, and if they can say abortion's not murder, that's not murder, and dude, they can redefine anything then.
It's amazing to see where our culture has gone, hasn't it?
I'm not sure I would use amazing. I'm pretty sure that the people that lived in the 20s and 30s, how do I say this nicely? They would be loading magazines.
Yeah. I would say people in the 1770s would be doing that too if they heard about this.
And you know what I really think the lead cause of it is? But like besides obviously the people in government and mainstream media that are pushing it, but the other reason that stuff like this is allowed to happen or is even feasible are cities.
Yeah.
That everyone goes to a public school. Everything's close by. Everything is exactly the same. Everyone thinks the same. Everyone acts the same. You're not going to go to New York and find someone wearing a cowboy hat. You're not that these cities really become little microcultures, and you have the mainstream media that kind of like manages the microcultures. And I would use this as an example about why I think cities are kind of inherently evil. You've seen Cops episodes, right?
Yes.
How many episodes have you seen where people were arguing with their neighbors in apartments or duplexes?
Most of the time.
Okay, right. All like 90% of the time. How many Cops episodes have you seen where they were out in the country and the one neighbor is having a domestic disturbance, that he has 50 acres and he's having a domestic disturbance with his neighbor that lives next door that also has 50 acres?
Hardly ever.
Right, I don't think I've ever seen that. And what it really comes down to is that if you put one person in a gymnasium, they're not going to feel claustrophobic. And if you put 16 people in an elevator, all of a sudden people that aren't claustrophobic necessarily are going to start being like, "Whoa, it's a little tight in here. It's a little hot in here. I kind of don't like this." And you start taking a more negative view toward the people that are right there next to you. Whereas if everyone kind of has their own space, everyone's kind of like, "Okay, cool. They're over there. I'm here. I'm over there." And that's why I think that this is kind of a really like off subject rant, but the fact that more people move to cities every day just makes it easier for them. And if, God forbid, they ever try something stupid, the fact that everyone's consolidated into these cities makes it even easier for them. And, like the fact that Van Jones admitted that this is basically, this is what the liberals have been trying to do. Every single facet of this was like a moonshot operation where it all has to come together. You have to have the media, you have to have the culture, you have to have politicians saying and doing the right things. You have to have people in cities voting a certain way. You have to have unions unionizing workers to think and act a certain way. That every facet of their plan is kind of working. And people are kind of falling for it because they don't know they're falling for it.
I don't mind living in a city. I don't mind it at all living in a city. But at the same time, when I went out to the country, when I hung out with you on your property,
mm-hmm.
It was quiet and peaceful, and that was really nice.
Well, the first thing you said to me when you got there was you were like, "Man, when I got outside the city limits, like my stress level just like went away."
Yeah. It's God's country.
And that's kind of what I'm saying, that cities aren't evil in the sense that they turn you into like a soulless murderer or something like that, but that they place you mentally in a more kind of unstable environment. And a lot of that translates to nature, where, like we go to the big cat sanctuary called Care Rescue right outside of DFW, that if you take all the big cats and you put them in their own cages with enough space, they're fine. But you take all the cats there, the lions, tigers, cougars, mountain lions. You take them all and you put them all in one large enclosure where they're all close to each other. What's going to happen? They're going to start fighting. It's not because they're murderers. It's not because the one cat is caddist and hates the other cat. It's just because people need their space. People need their own time to do things. And the more that people get cooped up and the more their finances get drained by government, the more irrational that they're going to be made to feel. And that's not even like they have mental illness. That's just a natural human reaction to those circumstances. And I know that we're way off topic here, but this kind of ties into immigration and to the border. You said you want to talk about the border, right?
I still want to talk about the border.
Let's talk about the border.
That's been a really weird situation recently. Let's start with recently.
Yeah, for a while.
For a while. I mean, this has been a problem since, honestly, the mid-2000s. And nobody has really been wanting to talk about it. KRLD has actually in Dallas has done a really good job at covering this. They had someone from in Brooks County, Linda Vickers, say that she's had a 7-year-old little girl from El Salvador with her mother come to my front door just in dire need, lost, needing help. They wanted to get a ride to Houston. They didn't want me to call Border Patrol. This ranch land is ruthless. It's deep sand. It's hot. It's humid. It literally sucks the life out of people. She also said, I have a set of dogs here that are a deterrent, and they tend to put some of these people in trees. I even had an MS-13 gang member in a tree up here in front. Now, these comments were made right before Nancy Pelosi came in today. And what Vicker said today was, I wish Pelosi or a member of her staff would come to her ranch to see firsthand what everyday Texans are going through. I'd have to ask my husband if he'd have Nancy Pelosi on the property first. But no, we'd have her here. Hey, what does that say? This entire thing is getting even more and more political.
Yeah, and I give her kudos because I can tell you right now, and I'm sure you would back me up that I'm not joking. You'd say, "Oh yeah, he's being serious." That if I did have a ranch in South Texas, and let me say that I'm also not considering moving to South Texas, so I don't think that this scenario would ever happen. But if I did, for some reason, get a ranch in South Texas, and I did come outside, and there was an MS-13 gang member real close to my house, I'm pretty sure I would feel threatened, if you know what I mean. I mean that these ranchers in South Texas have been showing amazing restraint, I think, but arguably a little bit too much so. But this is the problem, and this is also Obama doing exactly what he wants to do in a certain way. Because if you just pull all the Border Patrol off the border, people are going to notice, ranchers are going to get angry, citizens are going to get angry, word's going to get out through the local media. It's like even if you control the national media, word's still going to spread. So what he's doing is he's keeping his Border Patrol, going around rounding them up. Oh, you can call us, we'll come pick them up. But after that, they're not deporting them.
They're dropping them off somewhere.
Right. So to the untrained eye, the Border Patrol's still going around doing their job like you would expect them to do. But these people are not being jailed or being interned or being deported like they should after that. And that sends a message because, I mean, money's hard to send across the border, and that happens every day. If you can send money across the border, you can certainly send word back that, hey, if you get over here, just let the Border Patrol get you, and then, they'll fly you somewhere or they'll drive you somewhere, they'll bus you somewhere, but you'll probably be released with a court date, and then you just don't go to the court date, and then you're good. And I think Brandon Darby actually said he's seeing this now. That he said when I'm pretty sure he tweeted yesterday that he was down in South Texas and he saw immigrants come directly across the river in front of Border Patrol. And when they got to the U.S. side of the river, they just put their hands up and they're like, "Okay, here, take me in," because they know that they're not going to be sent back, and they know they're not going to have to trek 26 miles across the desert like people used to have to do and evade the Border Patrol just to stay, that they can just walk up and say, "Oh, hi, Border Patrol, I'm an illegal here," and put their hands out to be handcuffed, and then they'll be taken somewhere and be processed, and, "Oh, hey, you're going to show up for this court date in a month, right? Wink, wink, nod, nod. Okay, we're good. Have a nice day."
Yeah, and, a part of it, I remember in 2012, the president said that he was not going to, he had issued an executive order saying that the children of illegal immigrants would no longer be deported and they would be given work permits. Now, at the time, I said that his comment about saying that he wouldn't deport the children of illegal immigrants, that falls under his duties as commander-in-chief. He can do that. However, giving them work permits, it's not something that he can do as commander-in-chief. And surprise, surprise, not 2 years later, what are we running into? We are running into illegal immigrants bringing their children across the border, dropping them off, and there you go.
Yeah, and if you've lived in Texas for some time, you can see the landscape changing before your eyes. That I mean, literally neighborhoods that you used to go into and that were 80-90% Caucasian are now 80 to 90% Hispanic. And it's not that from 1990 to now that Hispanics had 21 kids apiece, and those kids are growing up, and this is kind of like a baby bomb or something like that. These are the borders are wide open, and people know it now. Word's gotten out that, hey, just make it here and then you're good. So it's like they're coming, and it should really speak volumes that in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s that most people came across the border were Mexican nationals, and now it seems like they're all here. So now what do you see? Guatemalans, El Salvadorians, now all of Central and South America is just coming up here, and part of me that's the cynical part. Whenever the whole Brian Terry thing happened, there was one write-up that said basically that an unnamed agency, an unnamed government agency, was working with one of the cartels in exchange for information, and they were giving information also to the cartels. So the president that would go as far as running guns to Mexico, it doesn't seem that it would be out of bounds for him to channel a message through cartels that are actually doing a lot more human smuggling than they ever used to. It used to be all drugs. A lot of it's just human smuggling now. That they're just saying, hey, get as many kids, get as many people here as you can. It'll help our cause. And can I prove that? Absolutely not. But if someone would have told you that the government was letting guns walk across the border in exchange for information, people would be like, "You're crazy" back then, and it's documented now. So I don't think it's crazy to think that. But even if that's not happening, we're still getting back across the border. Hey, get here and you're safe.
Yeah.
Get here, and it's like in South Park when Butters crossed the Mexican border, and he's like, "Base," and you can't touch him now because he's here. That's basically how it is.
Yeah. Not only that, and I apologize, Fishy, for depressing you. We both apologize for depressing you. Right?
I apologize for nothing.
No, okay.
And that's Andy Levy's comment. I'm not trying to take credit. That's Andy Levy.
But
I stand with Andy.
Yes, hell yeah. But this actually is a depressing topic, because we are running into situations where the federal government isn't doing their job, and so now it's up to the states to try to do stuff.
And like, what do you do? So there's El Salvadorians and Guatemalans and Mexican nationals, in the millions here. They're here. What, like, okay, we erect an amazing border fence tomorrow, which still is not going to happen. Okay. So are we booking like 100,000 plane flights to South America and deporting them all, or what are we going to do about that?
Yeah, and nobody wants to answer that question.
No, well, Barack Obama wants to answer the question. He wants to give them all green cards and like, okay, you're good, you're an American, you're here.
Well, he did say he was going to take executive. Here's the other thing that really bothers me, is that when people start asking, okay, hey, what are we going to do about this? Let's try to do this. You have Democrats saying this is why we need to pass comprehensive immigration reform, not let's pass a bill that takes care of this. Comprehensive immigration reform. It's like they're just like, oh yeah, this is a problem, and how are we going to use this to our advantage?
Yeah. That's basically what it comes down to. Obama surrounds himself with advisors, and he doesn't like dealing with stuff. So he says, "Don't bring me a problem, bring me a solution." And that solution is just, hey, let's just give them all green cards, and they'll all be flag-waving Americans, even though they don't wave American flags, and they don't speak English. And I wouldn't say all of them, but I've definitely gotten a vibe from watching rallies and from being at rallies that they kind of agree with that UT professor that just said it's when he basically said it's the gringo against us. And that's not me saying it. That's him. He's a Hispanic professor at UT saying, it's the gringo against us, guys. And if it comes down to it, we're going to have to kill the gringo. Like, excuse me? I thought I just heard kill the gringo. Like, and it just, if like they were coming here with the best of intentions, that would be one thing. And I'm sure there are parents that come here with their children for the best of intentions. I'm not even saying that it's that.
I'm sure there are a lot of people who are coming here with the best of intentions.
There are a lot of people that are not coming here with the best of intentions. And are those people just going to like give up on their hatred of the gringo one day and just try to assimilate, or and no one wants to compile the stats of the illegal immigrants that have committed crimes. No one wants to see those stats. No one in the mainstream media. If you compiled stats that this is how many people, people of other nationalities in this country illegally have killed, have raped, burglarized, violent crime. No one wants to see those stats at all. No one wants to see those stats, but they exist, and no one wants to talk about them. And it's probably a good thing we're talking about them here. And people are, I'm sure they're kind of like, because no one knows how to approach this subject. No one's talking about it. No one's thought about it.
Yeah. Well, one group which says that they are going to try to solve, and this just, if I could, I would slam my head into my desk until it knocked me unconscious. But all right, check this out. The Patriots Hotline founder. This is according to Newsmax. We're forming a human chain to stop illegals.
Yes. Yeah, it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
Militia members and other concerned U.S. citizens are converging on the border town of Laredo, Texas on Friday to create a blockade against illegal immigrants crossing into the United States. The organizer of the human chain and protest on Newsmax TV's Midpoint. This will continue for days and weeks to come and spread to other points along the U.S.-Mexico border, Barbie Rogers, founder of the Patriots Information Hotline, said in a telephone interview. Rogers declined to give an exact head count beyond more than 50 people or reveal whether the participants are armed, citing worries about their security. She said blockaders will follow the same rules of engagement as protesters in an April standoff between federal officials and Nevada rancher Cliven Bundy. Just like the Bundy Ranch, there will be no patriot out there on that line that will fire first.
Does this sound like a good idea to you?
No, this sounds like a horrid idea. And I was waiting for, and I wasn't going to say this. I wasn't going to say this because I was going to be nice. I didn't want to give people any ideas, but I was going to say, what's the next plan? Are we all going to stand there in a human chain and start shouting to the people trying to cross the border, Red Rover, let
so let's
Elizondo come over.
So let's play this two different ways. I'm a violent gang member, MS-13 gang member, like you find up that nice lady's tree.
Yeah.
And I have a pistola on me. And I come across the border, and I just say, like, you know, I'm going under or around or whatever your human chain. And what are you going to do about it? What are they going to do? They said they're not going to shoot first, so I guess they're just going to let me by. Okay, and let's say I'm a non-violent, you know, pregnant female. I come across the border, and I say, I'm pregnant, don't touch me. And I walk under their human chain. What?
It's so stupid.
Are they going to go hands-on with a pregnant lady at that point? Like, what? Just... And what this is this is a bad idea born out of frustration of the government not doing their job.
Yeah.
That if Border Patrol was, you know, had enough resources and we weren't sending all this money to foreign countries that hate us anyway, and these funds were being appropriated in a correct manner or in a more efficient manner.
And we didn't have all the waste and fraud.
And all the fraud and all that Border Patrol would be going around and word would get out that, hey, Border Patrol's out there like crazy. They're just going to pick you up. They're going to deport you. Don't even waste your time. That will do more than, you know, that, like, just the word of mouth that, like, oh, hey, the free gig's over. Like, you can't go over there. Like, that would discourage a whole lot of people. But Border Patrol's the people who can go hands-on with immigrants. They're the people who, if someone's got a pistol, well, they don't necessarily have to be shot at first to, you know, to like, you know, just like regular law enforcement. Someone has a gun, you have to wait till they point it at your head. You can shoot them, and no one's going to be like, oh, you know, why did you do it? But their hands have been tied, and the Brian Terry thing is a perfect example. That Brian Terry was coming up against gang members armed with AK-47 rifles, and he was shooting less than lethal, which basically means non-lethal, unless, like, you score a friggin' aorta shot on someone with a heart condition. They're not lethal. You're shooting beanbags.
Yeah.
You're shooting beanbag rounds at cartel members with AK-47s. And the same way word would get out that the Border Patrol's doing their job and don't waste your time, word gets out that, like, Border Patrol's a joke. They're not going to fire on you. If they do fire on you, they're going to fire freaking beanbags at you. And then they're just going to, you know, they might not prosecute you, and you're free to go to a bus station or something like that. Like, the precedent that this sets, if people think that the amount of border crossers now is a lot, wait till it cools down a little bit in the fall. Those numbers are going to almost double.
And let's not forget that at least with the MS-13 folks, you know who they are because they're so tattooed up, and they're so and they have so many tattoos on, like, their face and all over. You have a pretty good idea who they are.
Yeah. Oh no, those are just guys coming here trying to do jobs that Americans don't want to do. Taylor, you're a racist.
Of course. Of course. I'm all for expanding legal immigration and letting people in who,
Yeah,
don't want to commit crimes and want jobs.
Like 6 months ago, we were talking about that German homeschooling couple that all they wanted to do was homeschool their children. So we were gonna deport them. But like MS-13 gang member up a lady's tree, we're gonna let's not deport him. He's just looking for a job or something, right? He's just yeah.
Yeah. Now check out this statement that Greg Abbott said today. A week after Governor Rick Perry directed $1.3 million per week toward bolstering border security, he said this yesterday, Attorney General Greg Abbott said he sees measurable, meaningful results. Because of this border effort, the border area in Texas is more safe from crime than it has been before. And so far as crime on the streets is concerned, things are more safe and more secure because of the greater presence on the ground. He offered no details on the measurable results and said the Border Patrol told him 2 days earlier they made 1,500 arrests in the sector.
And how many of those people were set free within 48 hours?
Yeah, and now Brandon Darby has already said that no, this isn't true, and you shouldn't have said this.
I don't like the language "more safe" than.
Yeah.
If you have a school shooting one day where there's 25 kids that get killed, and you have a school shooting the next day that 24 kids get killed, technically that second school is more safe than the first one. It still doesn't mean anything. 24 people still died. Just because the border is a little bit more safe today, only 10,000 pounds of cocaine and 2,000 gang members, were coming across the border today. That language scares me because it's made to sound nice, but it doesn't actually mean anything really.
Yeah. Yeah.
And these when you're talking human trafficking, there's always a guide, and the guide is always part of a cartel. So even if you say, it's just a harmless. It's there's just a group of 10 immigrants crossing and it's harmless. No, well, one of them is still a gang member. One of them is still a guide. One of them is still in a cartel who's going to go back and get 10 more the next day or 20 more the next day. And nothing good comes from this. Like I wish I had some amazing way to phrase this and blow everyone's mind, but at the end of the day, it's just going to get worse, and nothing good comes from this. There's not one good thing that comes from this at all.
Yeah, there isn't. And I mean, let's we'll mention one reason that's even worse. And boy, when you told me about this, I couldn't believe it. Border Patrol agents in Arizona were reportedly fired upon by a Mexican military helicopter that traveled across the border. Mexican authorities were conducting a drug interdiction operation when the incident happened early Thursday morning on the Tohono O'odham Indian Nature. The Mexican chopper fired at the agents, then flew back to Mexico.
Yeah, and it should speak volumes that those agents didn't return fire. Like, it's through political correctness. We've now moved on to diplomatic correctness, where, hey, Russia, have a sub sink one of our cruise ships, and whoops, sorry, our bad, and then we're good, don't worry about it. And you have your helicopters come over here and fire at our border patrol, and we're not going to fire back. We're just going to be big pussies, and we're just going to hide behind our vehicles, and then we're gonna tell Dad. Dad's gonna have a talk with you. I mean, like, it should speak volumes that citizens have more defense capability than our border patrol now, because Texas state law says all I have to have is reasonable fear and feel threatened. I'm pretty sure a aerial helicopter that is armed and shooting at me constitutes a reasonable fear, and therefore I could fire upon it.
Yeah.
I wish I wish I could speak to the amazing restraint that our Border Patrol agents have, but I think at this point it's stupid. That what's Mexico's motivation not to do it again?
Well, of course, Mexico is denying that this happened. Mexico
sure.
is saying that no, we didn't. What Tomas Zeron, the director of the Mexican Attorney General's investigative office, the Mexican Attorney General's Office Investigative Office, otherwise known as the Department of Redundancy Department, said that Mexican military and federal police who were conducting an operation on a ranch in Altar, Sonora, were shot at by criminals. Mexican authorities never fired any weapons and, in fact, never crossed into the U.S. side of the border. Art Del Cueto, Border Patrol Tucson Sector Union President, tells KVOA-TV, though, that they called and apologized for the incident.
Yeah, there's actually videos on YouTube of the Mexican military. They love shooting. They love getting armed helicopters up there and shooting it out with people on the ground. They love that stuff. The same way that our government would never put an Apache up and start shooting. Dude, they do it 3 times a day. They love doing that. And those guys are trigger happy. They're not worried about the repercussions or you know what I mean? Like all that stupid stuff that we're worried about. Like, oh, well, what's the image it puts out to shoot at people from a helicopter? Like, they don't care. They do it 3 times a day. And when they do it to us, we don't do anything back. So it just emboldens them again that, oh, hey, whoops, shoot a Border Patrol, cross the border.
Let's arrest a Marine who accidentally got lost.
Yeah, and then I'm supposed to change a channel on the TV from seeing that, right? I'm supposed to change a channel to Deadliest Catch, and I hear Captain Keith Colburn telling me that he can't cross a parallel, because if he crosses the wrong parallel, Russia will either sink his boat or he will be taken and forcibly interned there for an indefinite period of time.
Like, I don't get it.
We're giant pussies. We're giant pussies these days. I know that there should be a nicer way to say it, but we're giant pussies. That you cross Mexico's southern border, and Mexico will do terrible things to you. That you cross into Russia illegally, and Russia will do terrible things to you. And yet, we get helicopters flown in our airspace firing at governmental employees, like federal law enforcement, and we're just like, oh, but they called and apologized, so it's all good.
We're all cool.
Yeah, we're cool now. We're bros. It's all right. We're good.
Yeah, you can keep that Marine too.
Yeah. You can dude. Imagine if we had drones or Apaches on the border and we shot at their federal agents, and imagine the apology tour that would take place on our end. And they can do all that crap and keep one of our military members, and we're just like, and we're calling them to apologize.
I don't get it. I really don't. I really don't get it.
I think it speaks to the natural human behavior that, we can say fairness and equality and all that, but the truth is that someone will always eventually try to go for the upper hand. And if one person is not taking the upper hand and and you can see they're actively not interested in being that person with the upper hand, then someone else will step in and they'll be that person. And in foreign policy, that person is now Vladimir Putin. He saw pictures of Obama riding his unisex bicycle and was like, oh. Okay, well then I'm going to go after Crimea, and this dude is not going to do anything.
Yeah, and let's bring up. I want to stick on the border, because something else that KRLD reported is that over 52,000 children have entered the country illegally in recent months. 52,000.
And this is what's crazy to me is that let's say you lived in Mexico or Guatemala, El Salvador, or something like that, right? And you had a couple kids. Would you just put them on a train to go meet up with a cartel, to go cross a border in a desert, or a river with a super bad current? Like, would you just be cool with that?
No.
Like, who are these people that just send their kids, like, oh, hey, like it's a freaking field trip. Like, oh, yeah, go across the border. Report your findings. Here's my phone number.
Yeah.
It boggles my mind that there are 52,000 parents that are cool with their kids just, okay, have a nice life, son. You're 12 now. Time to go smuggle yourself into another country in the summer. Like,
yeah, it's insane. It really is insane. And one of the things that we ran into was there was a child in San Antonio who ended up having swine flu.
yeah.
And they called it an isolated incident, but I
hate that phrase.
Yeah, the other thing that Congressman Henry Cuellar, who is a Democrat, but he said that he's talked to Border Patrol down in McAllen. They've seen tuberculosis, they've seen chickenpox, they've seen scabies. And according to Border Patrol, 4 or 5 of their agents have tested positive for those diseases. Now look, I'm not saying we don't take care of these kids. I'm not saying that we don't give them vaccinations. But there was a way, but there has to be a solution to this. And B, there has to be a solution that doesn't involve that doesn't involve our people getting sick. Because let's also be honest here. The reason why this is going on is that there aren't people in Texas to handle this. The Border Patrol isn't there, and it's not the sequesters' fault. It's not the Republicans' fault. It's not the Democrats' fault. This is all on President Obama.
Yeah. That he would rather spend money. Wasn't the stimulus supposed to give us infrastructure? But he's pitching another infrastructure bill. He'll give $500 million to Syrian rebels. He'll give money to, just name a foreign country. Name one. He'll give them money.
Yeah.
But he's not gonna invest anything in the public's health that live in border states from all this.
So let me ask you this, because we here at Vigilant Liberty Radio are big fans of solution. What the hell is the solution here?
Well, I think it's funny you're the 16,000th person that asks libertarians for solutions. But okay, seriously, what's the solution?
I'm one of them too. Don't forget.
No, I'm joking. You know what? If I honestly, it would be a multifaceted approach. It would be that you would have to build not jails, but processing centers for illegals. Places where when you send your border patrol out and they round up a group of 100, group of 20, group of 40, whatever, that they immediately get taken to the center for processing, which would be identification, making sure they're not felons, making sure they're not MS-13, making sure they're not wanted by Interpol or by us or by someone else. Then you screen them for, medical history. You screen them for current signs or symptoms of stuff. If they already have scabies or something like that, giving them a vaccination ain't going to be that helpful. They already have it. And then from there, you deport them. And you would obviously have to beef up your Border Patrol presence because you need to have the resources available to catch who comes across the border. And if that means National Guard being activated, I would rather see them on the southern border than in Afghanistan or in Iraq, halfway across the freaking world, fighting for a country that we don't really get anything from. Like if we went over there and we're like, look, we're going to help you out, but you're going to give us your oil reserves. That would at least make sense. Like, we could sit here and argue all day that, like, it's not right, shouldn't be there, maybe, whatever. But it would make sense. Like, the juice would be worth the squeeze. Like, we're getting something out of it. And we would actually get a big boost out of securing our border, whether it's, public health whether it's stopping drug cartels, human trafficking, and a lot of that, guess what, folks? A lot of those young girls coming across the border, those young 12-year-old girls that are hitting puberty, those drug cartels know that they're a commodity, and they're not just gonna turn them free in all cases when they come across the border.
I have to interrupt you for a second. Pope Sparkles asked, "Is it beat up on Libertarian Night tonight?" No, it's not. Sean Vinkman's libertarianism is very well known. My libertarianism is very well known.
I'm a self-hating narcissist, so I have to balance it out. I have to balance it out a little here, a little there. But no, the reason I said that was I think it's funny was because liberals always go to libertarians. All right, well, how would you fix it? And it's like, well, why am I the one answering the questions? Your dude's the one in government right now. So you'd have to have enough Border Patrol resources or National Guard resources, people in the field, constables, deputy sheriffs, task force people, CBP, whoever. They have to be people in the field. There has to be a beefed up presence. I don't know how feasible it would be to build a fence, but in the long term, it would probably be better to do it. I don't know how we'd pay for it, but it would probably be a good idea to do that. But you'd have to, and then word would get out that there's Border Patrol everywhere. There's National Guard everywhere. They're not going to shoot you in the face when they see you, but they are going to take you. They are going to arrest you. They're going to take you somewhere. They're going to check you. If you're a criminal, you're going to jail. So all those gang members that are in cartels that have histories here are going to go, oh, then do I really want to start leading groups across the border? Because first time I get caught with a group, then I'm going to jail. Then you're going to process the people and send them back. And then word gets out that don't waste your time. If you make it there, they're just going to catch you. They're just going to send you back. And then, maybe they're building a fence, maybe not, but they're not going away. They're going to be there tomorrow. They're going to be there the next day. They're going to be there the day after that. And it's the same way word of mouth can build a business or destroy a business. I think word of mouth can put a huge kibosh on the whole immigration thing. That right now the word in the street is, if your kids get there, they're good. So go figure, 1 million kids are coming across the border.
Yeah.
And when word gets out that no, they're not good, they're going to get sent back, they're wasting their time, then people are going to stop sending their kids.
Yeah, we are going to run till the top of the hour, and then we're going to go away for the evening. Our apologies for earlier tonight with the Time Warner Cable issues. Time Warner Cable, it's your fault.
It's all your fault.
Yes. It's all your fault. And NSA, you suck.
Yeah, your little patch isn't helping things. I'm sure it's stealing bandwidth.
NSA, we're saying hello to you with 4 fingers, because I'm sure Sean's raising 2 and I'm raising 2.
Yes.
I'll give you a hint which ones they are.
They don't need a hint. I'm sure they can. Yeah. I'm sure they're looking at my webcam right now. They can see which one it is.
Yeah. It's yeah. So you can just think that. Let's talk Benghazi for a moment. According to the New York Times, the Libyan militia leader charged in connection with the 2012 attacks in Benghazi.
Wait.
Yeah.
Libyan militia leader?
Yeah.
So it just so happened that a video pissed off a Libyan militia leader? Or are you insinuating that these weren't everyday people that in their mud huts were watching YouTube and got angry about a video?
Maybe they were using their Obama phones.
Oh, I didn't know we sent them over there.
Apparently.
Oh, cool. They have 4G over there then. Good for them.
Yeah. Somebody's got to have 4G, right?
Yeah, I sure as hell don't.
I get it occasionally.
I don't even have regular internet. Case in point tonight.
Yeah.
I'm hardwired. I still don't have internet.
Yeah.
Okay,
thanks, Time Warner Cable.
So this is a Libyan militia guy, to the surprise of frigging no one, that this was a big, probably Al-Qaeda offshoot that was responsible for this. Shocking. I know, right?
Yeah. Yeah. but basically he was flown into Washington today, and he apparently, if the New York Times is to be believed, was appeared at Mr. Ahmed Abu Khatala. Appeared in U.S. District Court, where in a hearing in front of Magistrate Judge John Facioli, the first two rows were filled with senior federal prosecutors and plainclothes FBI agents. Among the prosecutors was U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia Robert Macken Jr. It lasted about 10 minutes. And then he was taken out. He has been indicted with one count of conspiring to provide material support and resources to terrorists, resulting in death. A conviction can carry up to a life sentence. Here's my question: why did he appear in federal court?
Yeah, I was about to say, why is he not in Guantanamo Bay?
Well, because the Obama administration wants to close it.
Oh, no, I think it's because they want to look fair in the eyes of the world. And that would be fine if what he did was in any way, shape, or form attempting to be fair, but I'm pretty sure burning down our embassy, or whatever it was, our consulate, with our ambassador inside, I don't think that you beat hatred of that degree with attempted fairness. That's been Obama's thing this whole time, is that, oh, they're just pissed off at us because we interned them angrily in Guantanamo Bay. And that's not at all why they were pissed off. They've hated us forever. And, oh, you're going to make a nice show, and oh, we're treating him fairly in a Washington, D.C. courtroom. Yeah, I'm sure everyone at home is watching.
Yeah.
I'm sure all those Libyans are watching C-SPAN 3, and they're all, tuned in. They don't care.
Here is a very, very interesting thing, and I haven't vetted this, and I want to point it out that it hasn't been vetted yet, but it is very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
A CNN eye reporter, so one of those, he's an eye reporter, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
By the name of Sami Adahumi, actually made a comment on Twitter. He posted this about 7 hours ago, that Abu Khaleda actually took charge. He was there for Americans when Barack Obama left them to die. He arrived, secured, and sent out an SOS.
He sent out an SOS for our guys?
Yes. That's according to him.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Who, by the way, has pictures from the ground of Benghazi.
That whole thing, like, if people think that the IRS scandal is messed up, and it is, and if people think that Operation Fast and Furious was messed up and their stuff we'll never know, that's accurate. But the amount of bad intel and stuff that we will never know that happened in Benghazi probably doubles those other two. That there's information that, why were we there in the first place? Were we trying to funnel weapons to Syria out of Libya? Why were we even in Benghazi in the first place? Who was Stevens meeting with? That we'll probably never know. Then it's, why did these people turn on us if we're supposedly trying to strike a deal with them? Why are they all of a sudden trying to kill Stevens? We'll never know the answer to that. Who were exactly the people that organized it? I don't know if we'll ever know the answer to that. Why did we not send in reinforcements to Stevens? I don't know we'll ever know that. And why was everyone involved asked to sign non-disclosure agreements? I don't think we'll ever know that either. And, it really, there's, when you have that much shadiness surrounding something, all bets are off. I can't sit here and when I hear you say that this dude showed up trying to help Americans, I can't even say that's crap, because no one else was trying to help the Americans. Yeah, maybe this guy was still the one loyal dude trying to get weapons from Stevens, and therefore he thought Stevens was his buddy, and therefore if Stevens is his buddy, then America's his buddy, and he's trying to help out. I mean, like, the amount of secrecy and just the whole cloud over all of this is crazy, that no one knows what's even too crazy for logic. Like, no one, there's not a, out of all the what ifs, out of all the potential, like, what happened that night, nothing is you can't discount any of it based on just what is being told, because A, we don't know anything, and B, obviously crazy shit was happening there in the first place. So it's like, well, what was the extent of the craziness? Were there some Libyans with us? Were there some Libyans against us? Was this dude with us? Is he posturing? Is that one of his minions that's posturing for him now that he got caught?
Yeah.
Why was CNN there before the FBI was there? I mean, like, this whole thing is it boggles the mind, because it boggles logic.
Yeah.
Like CNN.
In case you're wondering what we're talking about, by the way, this is the Twitter handle at DelimanSC. Believe it or not, at DelimanSC.
Like Delhi, like the Indian Delhi.
No, Delhi, like go get you go to a deli.
Oh.
He's apparently an American who has been spending time in Libya. He's an American Libyan. He apparently has joint
dual citizenship.
Yeah, joint citizenship. Sami Hassan Mohammed Adahumi El Al-Jali Al-Boshrin Al-Souk Al-Jaridi Al-Libi. Libyan American dual citizen.
That was his whole name?
That was his whole name.
Dude, I thought my name was hard to spell. I feel sorry for that guy. Holy crap.
Venkman's easy to spell.
It's not. Well, people also misspell Sean.
True. They mispronounce it too. They call you Scene, right?
Yeah, I get that all the time. It makes me want to force choke people, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, and I mean, these are pictures of Benghazi that I've never seen.
Yeah, CNN, the news organization that's such a joke. They were running green screens during Desert Storm with dudes in Atlanta pretending they're in the Middle East. They get to Benghazi before the FBI.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this guy was apparently in Benghazi when this happened.
Well, that's fine. CNN was not in Benghazi though when this went down, and so
let's not well, actually, no. The New York Times was. The New York Times said that they had a reporter in Benghazi during the attack.
And that would be helpful if the New York Times had any credibility whatsoever.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, even if someone came out there telling the whole truth and nothing but the truth, I still can't believe them because they work for the New York Times.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, seriously, what happened there? We will likely never know.
Yeah.
Because the government does not want us to know. That's if there's one takeaway from this, it's that the government doesn't want us to know what happened there. And that's why we don't know what happened there. It's just that simple. And I doubt that Obama was, having Stevens build him a golf course in Libya. I'm sure that it was probably something sinister, probably something off the books, type like arms trafficking or something like that. And God, we'll never know what happened there. Never know.
Yeah. And of course, I know some people won't be willing to take a look at this guy's account because he does have issues with Israeli politics, with some of their stances. Believe it or not, not the ones that our Sheldon Richman had. Believe it or not, he actually called them communist.
Called Israelis communists?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they do have liberal stances on abortion and gun control and stuff like that, but I don't think I'd call them communists.
Yeah. Sean Venkman, as we are running out of time,
Yes.
Where can we find you online, and when is Real Deal coming back?
Oh, God, stop asking me that. I don't know. Soon. As soon as possible. And I know I've said that for, X amount of months now.
Half a year?
Yeah. Every time I try to do it, something falls through. So we're close. I'll say that. We're close. And we do have a time frame in mind of when it would likely work out. So we might be announcing that soon. But we're close. And you can find me on Twitter at Mr. Fopow, MRFOPOW.
He is a fun follow. He's a fun follow. Like when he said "Merry Wait" to.
I give Liz shit for her auto tweets every chance I get, and that was a really obvious auto tweet there. So I had to just stick the knife in. I also tweet stupid pictures. So
yeah,
like people asking when the 4th of July is.
And you can find me at iDesertBlog. That's at EYE Desert Blog. This is Saturday Night Cigar Lounge here on Vigilant Liberty Radio. I'm your host, Taylor Millard. Thank you to John Gabriel for being on earlier. Thank you to Sheldon Richman for being on earlier. You can find him at you can find Sheldon Richman at Sheldon Richman. You can also find John Gabriel at XJohn. So that's where you can find the two of them. We will. I'm not sure if we are going to have a show next week due to obviously the July 4th holiday that is wrapping up, but we will find out. So for Sean Venkman, I'm Taylor Millard. Thanks for listening to Saturday Night Cigar Lounge here on Vigilant Liberty Radio. We'll talk with you soon.
This show is copyright by VLR Media. All opinions of panelists and guests are their own and may not reflect the opinion of VLR Media, the host, or anyone else.